okay? Look at me. Look at me. Charlotte, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Are you okay? Hey, we gotta get out of this thing. Hey, no. Don't move. Climb up through the window right there. You can do it. You'll be okay. You okay?
Right, we have another Wolfman movie. Oh boy. Okay, so this is Blumhouse's The Wolfman, and it is done by Leigh Whannell, who gave us, who helped James Wan with Saw and Dead Silence, but gave us really good movies like Upgrade, and then the Invisible Man movie, which I really enjoyed. So when it was announced that he was going to do a Wolfman movie, and I really enjoyed what he did with Invisible Man, I was all up for it, because Invisible Man, what they do is they say, okay, here's the story. Now let's take this story and make it into something new again. And Leigh Whannell did that really well with Invisible Man. Invisible Man, it was, okay, instead of a scientist who had, I believe it was chemicals. I'm not entirely certain, but it was this evil mad scientist. But with this one, it was, okay, what if it was this, I think it was a millionaire who has a technology to create a suit that makes him invisible, and he's looking after, and he's going after his girlfriend because she left because it was a very abusive relationship. And I was like, okay, you're taking this and making it something grounded, more in real life. Not saying the way they did it back then didn't work in reality, but it was more we're modernizing it, but we're not modernizing it to say hey, see this kind of thing. And I think Leigh Whannell did that very well with this as well. With this, the classic Wolfman story is, the town hears there's a wolf around, and then a guy goes out, who's Lon Chaney Jr. in the original one from the 40s. He gets bitten by a wolf, and then he's basically has to pass on the mark of the beast. But this movie says, okay, we're going to take that, but we're going to have it as, we have this guy who's played by Christopher Abbott, who I really enjoyed him in Possessor. He was something in Craven, but he's a pretty good actor. And you also have what's her name? Garner, who is pretty much on the rise right now, and I think she's very, very talented. But they play a couple who's kind of lost their spark in their relationship, but he says hey, my dad just died. I need to go to where I was and get stuff. And it's set up that he had a really bad relationship with his father. And so they go there, and it's this cabin in almost the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods. And then they get trapped when a wolf man shows up and attacks them, and Christopher starts slowly turning into a wolf man. And the way they do it is they say, okay, we're going to take we're going to take the original story, but what we're going to do is we're going to put a bottle film on top of it and have him changing it's almost like a Cronenberg type thing, or almost like if David Cronenberg and John Carpenter came together and did a Wolfman kind of thing. This is kind of what you would get with that, because there's a lot of body horror into this, and it's really cool. Good. The performances I thought were really, really good, very believable. And the body horror stuff I think is really cool because it starts out with like, oh, it's bite mark, then it slowly starts turning like boils, and then all of a sudden he loses his speech, like he can't talk, so he just kind of like wheezes a little bit. So it's like you're slowly watching this person just going through hell, and and something that they do is they execute like, yeah, you do actually care about these people. Something that Leigh Whannell I think is very good at when it comes to writing characters is that he makes them very believable, and you do like these people. And so when something bad happens, you're like, oh, that sucks. This one, I don't think as much as like some of his previous ones, but he still does a pretty good job with it. This is a very different version. So like I said, like, you know, it's like they took a classic monster film and said, okay, let's put it in a bottle film and mix it with Cronenberg and Carpenter. And that's what you got with here. And I think it works really well. It also is pretty suspenseful too. Like he actually does like some really good and really clever scares in his stuff, especially if a lot of it is right in front of your face. Like with Invisible Man, I'm not gonna say what happens, but the dinner scene, you know, I'm just gonna say that was one of those like, uh-oh, and then like, oh shit, that's not good. I won't say anything. You just have to go watch that movie. But there's a lot of in here that is really good and especially very unique. And, you know, it was very refreshing to see another to see like a Wolfman movie, or especially just a monster that has been done numerous times. And they say, okay, look, we're gonna honor the original story, but we're doing something different, and it actually works. And this does. But they do also establish that, you know, the Wolfman gets senses. You know, like, you know, which I thought was really cool. It's a cool idea, but they use a filter over it, and it was almost like you're playing like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and you have like you're using your Witcher powers, and it's just like the screen then goes like black and white, and then like all the things you're searching for are like have this like yellow outline around it. This one kind of does the same thing, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but it's a little distracting. And I'm like, you do that a couple times, and it's like, okay, I don't think this really is hitting as much as you thought it would, or is that you think it is, but it's still cool, and I like how they show it. Like, you know, there'll be a scene where the two of them are talking, Abbott and Garner, and Garner's talking to him, and you know, just talking, and then it just kind of like pans over to like what he's hearing, and it's very muffled, and like you can barely hear anything, except he's hearing like a little bang from like a fly hitting the wall, like landing on the wall. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Except you're kind of using this filter over and over again when you've already kind of established it in a way you didn't use the filter. And so it's kind of like, all right, whatever, little nitpick. But overall, Leigh Whannell strikes again with this new version of Wolfman. It's like you got Wolfman, and they threw in a home invasion type movie and brought in Cronenberg, especially Cronenberg. Like, it's very Fly-esque. If you haven't seen The Fly, definitely watch that. So, much like his Invisible Man movie, he's able to take something we've seen numerous times and make it new again, which is always refreshing. And it's like, see, like, why couldn't we get this? Like, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Like, we had to keep getting like these like new, like these like almost like rehash type stuff. Now, that's not always the case, but Leigh Whannell does a really good job at that. And I give this one a great. I like how it was very grounded in realism, and I had some issues here and there, but overall it was a really nice telling of the story, especially, they were saying like, okay, we're establishing that this is, like almost like, like very Wolfman. It also took a lot from like something like American Wolf in London, but with American Wolf in London, it was more comedic in spots. There's nothing funny, and so it feels very much as he was kind of maybe taking a little bit from like John Landis. He was taking a lot more of like Cronenberg, which works very well. So I'd give this a great. I would say if you want like a different story of like Wolfman, definitely go with this one, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.